$4,716 this year. Are you included? That's a great question and exactly what we're going to focus on right here in the video, so let's get right into it. All right, now in this video, I do want to follow up to another video that I had out recently talking about $4,716 a year and some concerns and questions that I've seen down below in the comment section from some of you here in this community wondering, are we also included? If not, what are they going to do for us? Again, great questions and exactly what I want to focus on for you right here in the video. Let's get into it and talk through all the details. But really quickly, you've heard me talk about the sponsor here on the channel, Aura, and how they're giving all of you right here in this community an exclusive 14-day free trial with the link right down below the video in the description or at the top of the comments section so they can go to work immediately finding all the places your personal information has already been exposed on the dark web. Check this out. I signed up about a month ago and you can clearly see right here with the screenshots I'm sharing with you, they found 30 different places where my personal information had already been exposed on the dark web, and they went to work right away helping me clean that up, and they will do the exact same thing for you. Like I've said before in other videos, you'll be shocked with how much they find for you, so make sure to check them out with those links right down below. Just try them out. It's totally free for 14 days. You can use the links down below, or you can simply go to aura.com/blindtobillionaire. That is aura.com/blindtobillionaire, or by simply scanning the QR code on your screen. All right, now I do want to address a question and a concern that I've seen from many of you right here in the community, leaving right down below in the comments section in regards to $4,716 a year, and would you actually be eligible for this? And if not, what else is out there you can possibly grab and or take advantage of? These are some great questions, and again, I want to clarify on all of this because I've seen some comments coming in down below where some people are pretty frustrated by this, saying, why are we not included? And we want to get some of this too. Well, those are some great comments, and I agree. Yes, you should also be eligible for this. But let me talk you through the details about this. Now, just the other day, I was out in a separate video talking about $393 ongoing monthly checks as a result of a new child tax credit payment system that lawmakers are now talking about, and that's what it would translate into, is $4,716 throughout the course of the entire year with monthly installments of $393 a month. It's a lot of money, right? Almost $5,000 throughout the course of the entire year. Well, I've seen a lot of comments on that video as well as many other videos since then where some of you here in the community are kind of frustrated by this, saying, what about us? We're struggling just as much as fixed income beneficiaries, as seniors, as people with disabilities. What about us? We need something too. Why do they always forget about us? Well, first off, I totally agree with you. It seems that Congress, for whatever reason, it seems like they're always working on other projects, and it seems like they just kind of ignore fixed income beneficiaries. We've been seeing this happening for years and years, and honestly, it's super annoying, it's very frustrating, and it makes us want to write a bunch of letters and send them over there and be like, hey, stop forgetting about us. Stop leaving us out on literally everything that goes on out there. Please include us for once. We're struggling probably more than the vast majority of the population, the low income, the fixed income, seniors, older adults, people with disabilities, people that are trying to scrape by right now, especially with this very expensive time that we're currently living through, high inflation over the last couple of years. Yeah, I continue to show you with all the reports that come out, time and time again, we clearly see every single time the low income and the fixed income are struggling the most. I mean, I've come back with you over the last couple of years here showing you tons of reports showing exactly that. Okay, well, if it's so obvious, then why aren't they doing something? Great question. But let's quickly talk about this before we get too, off track here. But let's quickly talk about this, what lawmakers are talking about in regards to these child tax credit payments. Okay, here's what it comes down to. It depends. You could potentially be included if you have a dependent aged 16 or younger. So basically under the age of 17 is who would be eligible for these payments in the event that Congress actually does pass this. Now again, you could be an SSI beneficiary. You could be an SSDI beneficiary. You could be a Social Security beneficiary. You could be VA. It doesn't really matter. Whatever your fixed income benefits are, if you fall into the category of having a dependent under the age of 17, then even as a fixed income beneficiary, it sounds to me, according to the research that I've done on this, you would be eligible for this. However, let's talk about another situation. Let's say that you are, a fixed income beneficiary, and maybe you have kids, but your kids are, 25, 28, maybe 35 and 38, or 40 and 42, or something like this. Would you be eligible then? Well, unfortunately, the answer would be no, okay? And the reason for that is these payments would be directly focused on those individuals who have dependent minors, basically under the age of 17. Does that kind of make sense? So I saw some questions coming in, and I saw some concerns coming in on that video where some people are saying, hey, I'm an SSI beneficiary, I have kids, I need help too. Well, it depends. If your kids are under the age of 17, then yeah, you would actually be eligible for this. Now, here's another thing that's interesting about this, which, by the way, if you want to know all the details about this legislation that Congress is now passing around in regards to these $393 ongoing monthly checks for, child tax credit payments, check out that video from just the other day. I have all the details about it there. But basically what they have in there is no income threshold. In other words, you could have zero income, you could have $100,000 a year of income. You could have $10,000 a year of income. You could have $10 million a year of income. They said no income thresholds, which to me sounds kind of weird because really, somebody earning $10 million a year or $500,000 a year or something like that, do they really need $393 a month as a child tax credit payment? I'm going to go ahead and say probably not. They'll probably take it, but do they need it? No. There's a very big difference between need and want. Don't get me wrong. I want a lot of things. Do I need a lot of things? No, to be fair, I don't need a lot of things. I want a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that I need them, right? So again, a huge difference between the two. So that's what I wanted to talk about here in this video and describe for you because it totally depends. If you have kids, then maybe you're eligible based on if those kids are under the age of 17. But again, if you want all the parameters about these new child tax credit payments that are circling around in Congress, and again, to be totally clear here, this has not even been passed through Congress yet. So who knows? Maybe once again, they're just blowing more smoke. We know Congress is good at that, right? They like to do that, right? It's all smoke and mirrors and, all kinds of stuff like this. But this is what they're now talking about, and this is the legislation that is out there. So if you want to know more about it, feel free to watch that video from the other day. But this is what's out there, and I guess it comes down to this much. In the event that something like this actually does pass, well then, many of us here in the community are going to continue wondering, okay, they reinstated the child tax credit payments, what about us? What about fixed income beneficiaries? What about seniors? What about people with disabilities? What about people living on SSI and Social Security retirement benefits? What about fixed income beneficiaries? What is out there for us? We're struggling too. Great question. Who knows? Maybe in conjunction with that, they will pass some other legislation that also, fixes up Social Security and raises benefits. We've got the Social Security Expansion Act out there. That is the one that raises benefits by $200 a month. We have the SSI Restoration Act that is also out there to raise SSI up to the federal poverty line. We have the Social Security 2100, which also reforms Social Security. We've got all these different pieces of legislation. Not only that, there's about, 20 other pieces of legislation out there that would do other different things to raise benefits, to reform Social Security, to raise, the cost of living adjustment, all kinds of things like this as well. So there's a lot of different pieces of legislation, but just because it's out there doesn't mean that they're going to pass it. That's a big difference as well. Legislation that is passed through Congress is very different than legislation sitting around in Congress collecting dust. Big difference. One is law, one is not. One is just a stack of papers, right? Big difference, okay? Both are essentially the same. Both are a stack of papers, but one has been passed through Congress and one has a signature on it. And meanwhile, the other one has nothing, just ink on it, and that's it, right? So anyway, I know it's a super frustrating time. We went through the same thing back in 2021 when they passed the American Rescue Plan, which also contained the advanced child tax credit payments then, and about 38 million households were getting an average of $422 a month across the board for the second half of 2021. We talked about that a lot during that time in 2021, and a lot of people here in the community at that time were very upset by that as well, suggesting, hey, we need help. What are you doing for us? Well, the same question arises. What are they doing for us? Good question. Again, the only thing we can do at this point is continue watching Congress to see what they're going to do, and if they come forward with any other piece of legislation, or who knows, maybe like what they did back in 2009, a long time ago. What is that, 14 years ago? Back in 2009, believe it or not, they actually issued a dedicated, a highly focused stimulus check just for fixed income beneficiaries. It's a real thing. I know it sounds weird, but they really did it back in 2009. I believe it was in May of 2009. If you don't believe me, feel free to look it up. They did it, okay? I believe it was a $250 check, so it's not like it was much, but realistically, in 2009, 14 years ago, $250 was very different than what $250 is today. $250 today, well, what are you going to buy with that? Like 3 loaves of bread, a pack of eggs or 2, and like a banana? I mean, seriously, what are you going to get with it? Not much, right? You're not going to get much anymore. Maybe a couple months worth of utility bills. That's about it. It's not going to get you much these days. But back 14 years ago, I mean, to be real, $250 then was probably the equivalent of about, I don't know, maybe $600 or something like that. So, man, it's a decent amount of money then, right? Anyway, of course, I'll keep you posted on this. I know it's a frustrating situation. I want to reiterate this much. It has not been passed yet, okay? But this is what lawmakers are talking about, and it would translate into $4,716 a year per child, by the way. Sorry, not to make it even worse, but that'd be per child. So if they have 3 kids, we're talking, what is that? What's the math on that? $13,100 a year? I think that's right. 12, 13. Yeah, it's like, no, so I apologize. It's $14,100 a year. Yeah, I think I did that correctly now. I think it's $14,100 a year for 3 kids. Wow, let that sink in, right? That's like more than most people get from Social Security in a single year. Anyway, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. I know it's super frustrating, but either way, I want to be here to clarify and to give you the answers, as well as talk through tough situations like this. Either way, please make sure to check out the links down below. Either way, we can continue to protect ourselves from all the scammers, the hackers, the dark web, all of our personal information that's out there. Like I showed you earlier, those screenshots, 30 places my personal information was exposed out there. And again, a huge thanks to Aura. So check out the links down below in the description or at the top of the comment section for your exclusive 14-day free trial. Otherwise, you can make sure to subscribe down below, share the video, and go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel. Until next time, enjoy your day. Take care. Leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below. Until next time, enjoy, and catch you again later in the next video.